Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast, our Parra podcast. This one, so everything Parramatta related for you Parramatta folk out there, with two of the most passionate Parramatta fans you will see. Myself and Jake on board for this one, coming off a loss, unfortunately, to the Dolphins on the weekend, which was it's Thursday, so it's almost been forgotten about in a way, but it's still just there on the horizon, which we will touch on. I'm going to touch on a few other things tonight. Josh Adokar, his form and the extension that he's available to take up. Matto, the rumours about him being shopped around, if we do agree or not. I'm going to have a bit of a chat about any of the Eels players as well that are in line for perhaps an origin spot, if we think they should be there or not. So, and then we'll do a quick little deep dive into the team list for the night's game, and then how we think that game will go as well. Jake, I'll get you to kick us off. I did mention it. I said it was a disappointing loss on the weekend. To be honest with you, I was a bit filthy with that loss. I thought it was definitely there for the taking, the game that we should have won. I felt like our start wasn't quite where it should have been, which was the most disappointing part of the whole thing, and probably set us up for failure, and ended up being the case on Thursday night. Talk to us. What do you think about the game?
I'm real dirty on this one. I was yelling at the TV, as any good Parra fan should. The missus had just gone to sleep, and right at the end, as I saw Josh Adokar throw that pass too early and Dylan Brown gets caught, I yelled, and she had to come and check that I wasn't we weren't getting robbed, because I just I freaked out. I'll talk about the whole game first, and then I'll get into just one little thing that I want to touch on. But from the start of the game, it felt like intensity level was high on both ends. It felt like the Dolphins came at us 100%. They were out for blood from the get-go. And I will say this, I thought that Parramatta did a good job to hold that off for a while. And it felt like we got into the grind a little bit, which was good. It's a good thing to see that they didn't get over the top of us early, and we kind of held our own. But at the same time, it is so glaring to me now, and not that it wasn't before, but it's so glaring to me now that the props and that our forward pack is just missing just that punch. We're just missing punch. Our backline's great now. It's awesome. We've been waiting for this, but our forward pack is just missing. I don't know what it is. It's just missing oomph, we're getting beaten in the middle, and our edges can't do enough about that. And we're having the best two, halves in the comp, not that they are the two best, but having two of the best halves in the comp can't compete if you don't have a platform. I've said this, I always say this, you need to have a platform. They can't do that. Now, onto a very specific moment in the match. I want to say, first of all, I thought Josh Adokar had a brilliant game. I thought he was everywhere. One of the best games of the blue and gold. At the same time, man, please, you've won premierships, you've won origins, you've won everything there is to do. You're a winger, I understand that, and you're 31. I don't even know how old you are, but at the same time, you are one of the most experienced wingers in the comp. It's a simple draw and pass wins us that game at the end of the game. Either dummy and run it yourself, which I'm okay with because you're the fastest player in the world, apparently. I'm okay with you doing that. Or just wait for the. I understand the hammer timed it really well, but if he's backtracking and he has to turn around, gun it straight, go past him, dude. You're an expert finisher. That's your whole thing. Come on, man, please. Could the anger I felt at the end. Not even anger. I was just so sad at the end of that game. I really was.
He's 29 at the moment, so he's actually still got a few years left in him.
Yeah.
I reckon he's in some good shape. We will touch on him a bit more in depth in terms of, I guess, his future at the club shortly. But you are right. That was definitely frustrating. It felt like in a way we could have stolen that game because, to be honest, I felt like the Dolphins were the better team for a lot of that game. Katoa put on a masterclass. Farnworth was brilliant. And it just felt like a few of our players just weren't quite up to it, which was frustrating because, like we both said it, and I think we both tipped him as well, which is the first time I've done that I think all year tipped them. Actually, I tipped them the week before against the Sharkies as well.
Oh no, I tipped the
So,
Dolphins, unfortunately.
oh, look out! Well, you got the tip right at least. So,
The most bittersweet tip I've ever gotten.
yeah, it definitely just like going back, like it just felt like every set at the start, like, yeah, you were saying we were withholding him a bit and just dealing with it, but they look like they were making so many more meters than us for a lot of that opening. I'd almost go as far as 15, 20-minute stanza. Like they just were making monstrous meters where they were doing attacking kicks and we were relying on Moses to get us out of trouble a lot more often than not. And that's the front. And we keep saying it. The forward pack for mine is a huge talking point that needs to be fixed urgently. And I do believe the club is still looking at options around that and hoping they can perhaps find someone to get mid-year, but there's not much around at the moment. I just don't know what's going to happen there with clubs being tight, salary cut wise, things like that. Talking about forwards, like one particular moment in that game that really dumbed my head in was seeing Junior get the ball stripped by a young halfback in Isaiah Katoa. Like a big mammoth prop forward for us should not be losing the ball in an attacking position where we were putting on some pressure. That should just become that doesn't happen. Like you don't see players like Tino and May and Haas and those sorts of players would never do that in that situation. Yet, like I know people and we've given Junior some raps this year. It seems like he's gotten a little bit of form back, somewhat, but those sorts of things are just crucial plays where that sort of team at the moment, we can't be losing the ball in those sorts of situations. We need to be building pressure and giving ourselves every single chance possible throughout games to score points to win a football game. It was just super frustrating, especially from a leader.
It is, it was one of those moments where you just like as a fan, you even just like drop your head, like come on. Being a player and you know strips like that type of strip can happen to somebody as long as they're running with the ball out wide enough because it's not easy. I wouldn't say is the skill, but like because they're focused on the run, you typically don't like think about a strip. But at the same time, Junior is what 120 kilos, something like that. Like he's a big dude. He's holding the ball in his arms. You would think there'd be a little more of a fight. I don't know. He should be running in a way that shouldn't even be an option for Katoa because you're a prop. Shouldn't you be running at Katoa? He's a halfback. Shouldn't in that run? I don't understand. You know things happen. And it's a quick game and everything. Shouldn't he? He should have been running directly at Katoa. Katoa should have been thinking last thing possible was a strip. He shouldn't have been. Yeah. I don't know. It is. It's one of those drop your head moments, but you know, it is only one moment in a game overall. It sucks, but I can't say that it's like the most disappointing thing that happened in that game for me.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't. It's just something that just sort of points out to me. On disappointing moments, I think Isaiah Iongi had one early on where he dropped that sitter that would have been a guaranteed try.
Poor bugger.
Could not believe it. Couldn't believe it from a Supercoach point of view. I was sitting there cheering because I played him on the weekend. He ended up scoring quite well in the end, so I was happy with that. But that would have been a cherry on top for me. But it was just one of those, like I said it before, we need to take every chance we can get at the moment. And that hurt because it was also because that was before we got on top of any shape or form. So sort of against the run of play. So it would have been a massive 6 points.
Oh, 100%. And you know what? No one's going to be kicking themselves harder than Isaiah Iongi after doing it, right? So first of all, he's a young kid and I'm not going to heap crap on him. It was a bludger. Don't get me wrong. It was a huge bludger. Like he's sitting there after that and he's going, oh, I shouldn't swear on the pod. He's sitting there after that and he's going like, what's that?
Let it out.
He's sitting there after that and he's going like, fuck. Like he'd be so frustrated with that one because it's a bludger. And like a lot of people saying, I saw a lot of people in the comments and stuff saying like, oh, Dylan Brown shouldn't have passed and stuff. But the pass wasn't the issue. It wasn't a bad pass. It was an easily catchable pass, and it's unfortunate. It's an accident, and these happen. You know what? It's definitely not worse than Jaden Stewart's, so at least he has a little bit of precedent to go, well, someone else did it worse a week before. It doesn't make it any better, but I want to say on Isaiah Iongi, he had a almost spotless game other than that and the one drop he did, but he was under kick pressure all night. So
He bounced
I'll give
back
him
well.
yeah, I want to give him praise for the game, first of all, but it was an absolute bludger, and it could have given us some momentum, possibly a different game. But I do want to give him props for a big game. He's going to be a future star. I'm very happy seeing him grow.
Yeah, no, I think, as I said, he did bounce back brilliantly. Set up that first try to Simon in a really nice in and away, which I thought was fantastic to see. And then he was good for the rest of the night as well. So it was like these things are going to happen with these young players. It's just, I guess, from a fan's point of view, it is frustrating because, like we said, we need to get every try we can get. And when we see one of those
100%.
sitters go, it definitely is frustrating. Can I raise a point about Mitchell Moses and why the hell wasn't he goal kicking? If he's out there, he should, in my opinion, if he's doing all the kicking in general play, things like that, there should be no reason why he's not goal kicking out there. And for mine, that was a big telling point because Russell missed a couple. Yeah, granted, they were difficult sort of kicks, but to be honest, I'd probably back Moses in 9 times out of 10 to get both of those kicks and put us into a really good position on the field and the scoreboard as well. So I just don't get if he's there, he's playing. Like, I know Lomax is first choice, but Mitchell is second choice every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Like,
Yeah.
And I've heard a few people, I've read a few comments after the game that were saying, oh, yeah, but Russell's been a good kicker. Not really.
Yeah.
Like, his record isn't that great. Like, he's been okay, but he hasn't been anything special. Like, he hasn't been let's say this way, his goal kicking form hasn't been at that quality where you keep someone like Mitchell Moses out of it.
No, he's not. And to be honest, I don't know I can't answer this question because I don't know the answer as to why. I don't know if it's a concern around his foot and there's really trying to make sure he's avoiding like kicking and those types of motions when it's unnecessary. Obviously, in game he needs to do it, like during play. But I just don't know whether that's something that they're doing to manage his injury. I understand that he's out there. I don't know. I'd rather have him kicking too, and obviously Sean Russell being a third string kicker is fine if we have to do that, of course. But I'd rather have Mitchell kicking them as well. I can't answer why he was doing that. The only reason I can even think of is it has to have been something around his injury and just trying to minimize the amount he's kicking with that foot. But he needs to be kicking if he can be. Yeah. Look, Lomax is back and he's had a foot injury. He's had a very similar foot injury. So it's actually going to be interesting. I wonder if Russell will keep kicking.
Surely not. I'll be outraged. I'm telling everyone right now, I'll be absolutely outraged if we get to the game on the weekend after the first try. Hopefully we score a try. Lomax or Moses isn't goal kicking. That'll do me.
I'm pretty confident that I've seen a report saying that he was doing some goal kicking at training. So I'd imagine he will be. But I don't know.
You don't want to see me lose it, guys. So Moses or Lomax preferably, make sure you're there goal kicking because I do not want to see Russell take one more shot this year. I'll tell you right now. I just want to quickly shout out, before I go to a couple more moments in the game, which I wanted to quickly point out, Dylan Walker. How good has he been for us? Like, if he's not arguably right now one of the probably top 3 signings of the year, I don't know who he is because he has been sensational. And yet early in the season came over to us. So he's got a few weeks to catch up from some of the other OG signings from obviously the preseason and things like that. But wow, his impact has been immense and immediate as well. Like, it has been a sensational start to his career in a blue and gold jersey.
Oh, 100%. I'm finding myself sitting in games where we might be like 6 down or like in that one where we were a little bit down and going, it's all right though, because Dylan Walker's going to be coming on soon and he'll bring some, like, I find myself waiting for him to come on going, he'll bring some punch. He'll bring that impact. So if I'm sitting there like going, let's get him on, like I'm waiting for you kind of thing, he can't be doing too badly. Like it's an exciting prospect when he comes on, and we've talked about it before when he allows Dylan Brown and Mitch Moses to play that touch wider because he's then that ball playing in the middle. And what a ball through to Dury on the weekend. I thought that ball onto Dury was just sublime, like just perfect. It was terrible defending in the first place from the Dolphins. Let me just say that. But at the same time, he saw it and he threw it. So What you can't really complain under the sticks. So, yeah, I'm loving seeing Walker coming on. And I know you've talked about this before. I still don't think he should start. Not because he couldn't handle it at all, but because I know you've talked about like we should get on the front foot early. I still just feel like he's good once the team's warmed into the game. It feels like he comes on and brings something extra, like a boost to the team when we need it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I understand what you're sort of saying. It's just for mine, we have not been on the front foot to start a game yet, and we're now round 10 into round 11. That's very, very concerning. Like, we just can't expect to win any decent amount of football games for the remainder of the year if we're going to continue to give teams starts and let them get on the front foot and go from there. Like, I know what you mean, and I love it as well. I love having that. Feels like a security blanket in a way, knowing Dylan Walker is coming on. But at the same time, he's not Superman. He can't always do that as well. Like, there's going to be games where he unfortunately will have an average game. It's human in this competition. I can't remember the last time someone's gone through a chunk of, let's say, 10 games having just every game being good, apart from Turbo or Hayne, like those sorts of players. But they're freaks. And unfortunately, no disrespect to Dylan Walker, he's not in that echelon. But it's just I just want to see us get on the front foot and start well for once. And I just feel like at the moment we're not getting that with Hopgood. And I'd change it up and give Dylan Walker a shot at doing that and seeing what happens. I mean, we're not winning games at the moment anyway, so we may as well try something. That's how I sort of feel like.
Sorry, I was going to say, you're absolutely right. In the sense that Jason Riles is obviously a beginner coach, and he said he'll come out and make changes to see what will work and stuff like that. It couldn't hurt to try. Like, I'm not going to look at it, if it happens where it's on a week and I see the team list come out and I go, like, Dylan Walker's in lock, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, god damn. Like, I'm going to sit there and go, all right, well, let's see how it goes. Can't hurt to try. I'd be willing to see it happen at the beginning of the game for sure.
Talking about Riles, there was one thing that happened in the game I noticed that I really questioned from his coaching tactics point of view. That was towards the end of the game where we were chasing points. Dylan Walker has been doing a fantastic job in the middle, ball playing, things like that, being another source for sort of a playmaker as we will, and doing, again, a tremendous job of it. But then while we're chasing points, and he's probably the best option to do so, he brings Hopgood on, and instead of having Hopgood as the ball runner, swaps him to make Dylan Walker then become the ball runner, which I just thought was absolutely ludicrous in my opinion, because Dylan Walker was clearly working quite well with Brown and Mitch Moses. Why would you bring on then someone like, I understand if Hopgood needs to come on, get the forwards, freshen him up, things like that. But if you're going to keep both of them on, you're keeping Dylan Walker, who's been easily out of the two, the form 13 out of the team. You're leaving him there and not changing his way of his style of play, because that's been clearly working for us. I just thought that was an absolutely stupid coaching call.
Yeah, look, I agree. And then there was a specific play that really highlighted it. I don't know if you remember, where Hopgood got the ball and he actually hit Dylan Brown instead of hitting Mitch behind when we were on, like, it was near the end of the game. We were on the attack. And even the commentators said, like, they were sitting there going, well, you know what? I think if Dylan Walker is the one that gets that ball and Hopgood's the one running, he makes the right call.
Yeah.
Look, I want to see Hopgood succeed. I've always thought he's had too much of a pass-first mentality as a forward. I want to see that go. I want to see a game where his main job is just be in the props maybe and just take hit-ups, like just get through work, because he's got the body. He's got the body for it. We know he's got the fitness for it. I say let him give it a go. Like, and this is getting too far into it and into detail and stuff, but I still believe Jack Williams is the second rower. I'd have Hopgood start at prop. If you're going to start Walker at lock, I'd have Hopgood start at prop and then shift Jack Williams out to the second row, and I think that'd look really good too.
I'm with you there. That was exactly going to be my next point. So I agree with you there. The last one on this game before we sort of move on, and I'll check if you have any other things that I have missed. Just that captain's challenge that Moses did do on Gilbert, who sort of took him out in that play. Like, don't get me wrong right now, I'm not going to whinge. I'm not one of those fans that whinge about the referees. They cost us the game, but I don't do that. I don't really like people that do that either. I think it's a cop-out. You got a lot of time in that game to make sure that ref moment doesn't impact what happens in the game. But and I don't think Moses would have got to that ball. Like that ball was flying, and I think it was just too far away from Moses to actually get there and score the try. But Gilbert, for mine, had eyes on Moses for majority of that play. Like he clearly was trying to escort Moses out of the way of getting that ball. It was so clear. I have absolutely no idea how the bunker came up with the decision to say Gilbert didn't have eyes on Moses. Like you could clearly see the fact that he did, which I can't believe how they came up with that.
No, I couldn't either. Look, Mitchell Moses played for a penalty in the sense that when he got hit, he went down, right? Okay, sure. How many other halves and how many other players have done that and that goes through? Like that's if the fact that he fell over like in a semi-controlled way, it's just rubbish because it was Gilbert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could see Gilbert watching him. His eyes never left Moses and he changed his line into Moses. That is the most basic like obstruction call or escort call you can do. Like it is so clear. It is right there. And yes, Moses played for it, but it actually kind of is his right to be able to play for that a little bit because Gilbert ran into him. Like he's trying to just show that he got taken out, and he did get taken out. And Moses isn't getting to that ball. You're right, but it should have been a penalty. Absolutely should have been a penalty. That was the right call there. The wrong call. The wrong call was made, but yeah.
Yeah. One final one. I just want to shout out to Bailey Simonson, who I thought has come back from obviously his ACL injury. And as the games have gone, he's gotten better and better. And I thought he was having a really good game on the weekend. Such a shame because we're about to get our full strength backline, which I think everyone out there was so excited for finally. He's now out for between 8 to 10 weeks with that stress fracture in his foot. So it absolutely sucks, especially if there's a chance that we do lose Lomax as well to Origin or whatever happens there. Like, just a painful one. Like, and obviously Bailey's would be hurting more than anyone here. So what we think doesn't matter. But yeah, it just sucks. And he's been so good for the club. I feel like in the last 18 months, every time he's on the field, he's probably been over that course of time on the field, probably our best player once you look over the whole thing, especially last year before he got injured. He was fantastic. So it's a really big blow.
Yeah, he came back this year after his ACL injury looking a lot bigger. And I feel like he, as opposed to breaking out of tackles and spitting out of them and going sort of sideways, he was more just busting straight through people, which I love to see. Love to see that so much. And his work rate was the same, if not probably the same as Lomax's. So if we could have had all four of them at the back together, we know Penasini has a huge work rate. Josh Adokar had a massive work rate on the weekend. To be honest with you, that's a huge back five. That's big meters back five right there. And the way our forwards are going at the moment, we need that. Now, we're obviously missing Tuivasa, so that one sucks because he's a big part of this. Luca Moretti's looking really good. Our forward pack's like, it's going to come together, but our back line needs to be making those big meters to assist them. Other than that, we aren't going to win games.
Yeah. No, I agree. Anything else to add for this game, or happy to move on?
No, I think I would like to move on from this game and get focusing on what's to come.
Let's do it. We mentioned him earlier, Josh Adokar, who has been sensational for us this year. There's obviously that extension in the background, potentially. I think it's in the club's favour at the moment. For mine, I'm shocked that this hasn't even been announced yet. I'll be putting this on urgency mode at the moment. I know it's in the club's favour at the moment, but you just don't want to risk anything happening there. He's been sensational. To be honest with you, and most people would have known this by now, I wasn't that crash hot on the signing to start with. I didn't think Josh Adokar was in great form last year, and obviously I didn't really agree with what he did. Obviously, I don't condone any of that sort of stuff, so I didn't like the fact that we're changing a culture around and then signing someone like Josh Adokar from doing what he did do, getting sacked from a club. But he has made me eat my own words. He's proven, and I've met him obviously at the club official launch night that they had there. Fantastic guy, fantastic to talk to, so accommodating with every single fan I've ever seen him come across in the game, and then even more so with the Blue and Gold Army out there. So I feel like this is now becoming a matter of urgency for the club to make sure. And I'd go as far as saying, knowing he's only 29, I would say don't just extend him for next year. I'd actually probably give him 2 or 3, to be honest with you. Like, I know we've got a couple of young guys coming through and that, but at the moment, when Josh Okar's in the form that he is in and he's back to that scoring tries like he is, making breaks down, tippy-toeing down the side, and that's vintage, that's state of origin-esque Josh Okar. You're making sure you're keeping that at the moment.
Yeah, he just provides this undeniable threat that at any point, if you can get the ball outside of a defender, he will make a break. Like, that's all that happened on the weekend. Mitchell Moses was lost. He didn't know what to do at the end of the game. Throw it to Adokar and pray, because like that's what he is. He's a threat. He helps us out. I would love to see him re-signed. 100%, I would love to see him re-signed. I think that he not only brings that, he brings energy. Defensively, I don't really see any issues. Like, he brings experience. Obviously, I'm annoyed that he didn't throw his draw and pass well enough on the weekend, or on Thursday, I suppose I should say. But at the same time, that's a mistake, and these things happen. You know what he's going to do that play perfectly. It sucks. If there's one thing that I want to see more of out of Adokar, not before re-signing, I'd re-sign him now easily, but I want to see him back his pacing a little bit more. It feels like he's just lost a little bit of confidence in himself pace-wise. He's getting outside of defenders, and then it feels like he's looking for that pass as opposed to looking to go himself a little bit more, where I'd be happy to see him book it first and like have like a Dylan Brown or Mitch Moses almost catch up and then put a kick in or whatever. Like, that feels like a better option to me as opposed to always looking for that pass early kind of thing. I'd like to see him just put his foot down, back himself a little bit in, and go from there. But yeah, re-sign ASAP, please. His energy is great.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, great to see. Do you reckon that might be like the looking inside almost straight away? It has to do with also being at Combank and playing at Combank a fair bit, because it's feels a lot more slippery than a lot of the grounds, especially at the moment. It's becoming dewy, stuff like that. He wants to do the safety first option, being new at the club still, probably wanting to make sure he fits in and doing all the right things by the coach. The club knows how important us having possession is, so he doesn't want to ideally go and risk a play that could result in him either losing the ball or getting bundled into touch. He's trying that safety option. Like, I agree. I'd love to just see him go old school and just stick to it. And we lose possession. But because you know what, 5 or 6 times out of 10, he was going to actually get around and score the try. So I'm happy to wear it. But yeah, just a little point that top of my head thinking about it might be something that he's thinking of.
I don't know. I think he's had some ACL injuries and he's had some leg injuries. And I think, honestly, more so than safety in terms of like club and team, I think he wants to look after his own body. I think he's just concerned about having another injury. And that's where I'm like I've had that type of thing happen before, where you have that niggle in the back of your head of like, do I push myself here, or could I take the easy option almost? Like, and it feels like at times he's content to take the easy option, and if it doesn't lead to a try, well, it doesn't lead to a try, but he didn't get injured, so he's there for the next one. Whereas I'd rather see him go all out. And, I don't know that it has anything to do with combat. I get what you're saying. It does feel a little bit slippery, but most of the time he's only got to go straight anyway. So I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about Ryan Matterson. There's obviously been a bit of rumors around the last week or so about him potentially being shopped around or being told by the club he's no longer needed. So if you can find something, I believe it's even from ASAP, he can leave the club. I'm a bit in two minds about this one, to be honest, because I can get it from a money point of view. Like, we don't want to be paying someone that, let's say, he's on, I don't know, $750 he'd be on probably at the moment.
Yeah, I thought, but
$650 or around that. You don't want to be paying that to a reserve grader. Like, that's plain and simple, and I get that point of view. But I think from the start of the year, I reckon in every team list so far, I can probably count 2, maybe 3 players every time that I would have Ryan Matterson in before those players. And it just sort of has this vibe to me, a bit like Hastings at the Knights, where it feels like he's clearly on the outer at the club and sort of getting pushed out of the club. And it just sort of doesn't sit well with me, because I've been a fan of what Matto can do, and I believe Brad Arthur didn't use him that well at all, to be honest with you. The last couple of years with his, I think he had him all over the shop and just didn't ever once know how to actually get the best out of Matto, which was Brad. And I think he's been a bit stung by that as well. I think there's still a pretty good footballer. By our reports, he's actually been very good in New South Wales Cup. So it's not like he's gone there and kicked stones. He's actually gone there and put in the effort. So that's not one of those issues as well. It's not like he's kicking stones at the club, things like that. He's still featuring in the photos and things like that, which some people might find funny, but it happens at the clubs. Like there's a player that's on the out, things like that, or they're not happy with, they won't put the photos of them up. They just don't do it. Some clubs out there are very nitty picky and gritty with that sort of thing. But what do you think, Jake? Do you like the fact that he's being shopped around? Are you a bit off with, like, I don't know?
It's a very difficult one because at the moment we've just talked about our forward pack and where we're at with that. Our forward pack is struggling at the moment, and we know what he has got in him. We know what he has done for the club, and I still believe that he's a second rower over a middle at the moment. Like, I still believe that he's not big enough, and we're looking for a second rower right now. Charlie Guymer's not the answer. They're trying Matt Dury in this week, but I still feel like he's been playing better as a prop. Like, I think it's happened at the Tigers. It's happened now. It's happened here a few times where it kind of feels like he's been chopped around a little bit, like kind of through the ears a little bit. So I'm wondering if there isn't some sort of attitude issue, or I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's a victim of his price tag. That's what I feel like it comes down to. I reckon the club might be looking at it and saying, even like last year, we can't have someone who's on bordering let's just say 700K to just call it that. We can't have that coming off the bench, or now we can't have that playing reserve grade, which again, I do get. I just would like to see him get a start. Like, as you said, their edges at the moment have not good at once. And I get, like, Katoga, for instance, is young, upcoming. They want to give him some chances, things like that. I get that. But at the same time, I'd also start to like winning some football games. Like, we're struggling. I don't want to get the wooden spoon. And I feel like at the moment that should be priority, is winning some football games. Some of these guys can still get the experience they need in New South Wales Cup, which that team is doing really well. They're flying. They're sitting second on the ladder, I believe. So they're doing some really good stuff down there and playing some good football. So it's not like they get out of the system. I just would like to see us prioritize winning some football games and not being this personal driven sort of agenda, which it kind of feels like.
Yeah. Look, okay. So I agree and I don't. So I think that I'd like to see him get a crack, because I feel like it's not fair that Jason Riles has sort of come in and just automatically assumed that Matto is not going to be in his plans. If that's the case, like, it kind of feels like that's what's happened. He's kind of gone, right, well, you know, definitely. You weren't playing much. Yeah, you weren't playing much last year, and you're on a big price tag. Let's, we need money for whatever reason. He's obviously got something. He's obviously got some sort of plan with this money, because we're going to have a lot of money at the end of this year. We got a lot of money, and there are not that many players coming off contract this year. So I'm thinking he's got something cooking with potentially some players coming off contract next year, and seeing if he can bring them sort of over across early or whatever. But this is a tough one, because the question is, when are we going to start winning football matches while, I think he needs to have had a crack. That's all it is. I just think he needs to have been given a fair shot. He came in for 10 minutes in a game at one point. Like, that's not really fair to him, and we're already on the back foot kind of thing there. So he needs to have a go as a starting player and be given that opportunity to show why he still believes that he's, part of this club's plans and stuff like that. Now, at the same time, this is why I said I had two parts to this. At the same time, I can see what Jason Riles is doing. He's playing his juniors. He's trying to get the players he wants around the club for next year, and he's trying to develop them all for next year. I get that. And I think I'm hoping he hasn't, but I feel like he's almost conceded, well, we're coming dead last. We're at this point of the season, our chances are slim of the 8. Our chances are very, very, very slim of the 8. I'm hoping he hasn't done that. I really am. But I'm hoping at least he's trying to go, like, let's try and have a late push to see how high we could get. Like, that's just so that we can take some positives going into that next season kind of thing. But, like Kartoga, for example, he started to play quite good, but I also think he could have benefited from a little bit of time back in grade and then like reserve grade and then coming back up kind of thing. And then, Matto, it's tough on him, but I'm seeing the future in what Riles is trying to do, and I'm okay with him trying to do it. If he needs to go to do that, then it is what it is. I'm willing to suffer for a full year to see results next year, to be honest.
Yeah. Like I do get it as well, and I like in a way him doing that. Again, I just want to win some games. We were a win
I get
off
that. I know.
getting the wooden spoon last year, and just as the club that we are to go from a grand final 2 years ago to then being dog shit basically the year after that, and then the last year almost getting the wooden spoon, and now this year being favourites to getting the wooden spoon. If we're going to call a spade, probably look like the most likely team of getting that as well. Unfortunately, it does hurt knowing that some of these kids that are coming through, they're getting their chances and rightly so, are costing some wins. Like I think the inexperience,
Yeah.
and they spoke about it openly at the game last weekend. And you can see Moses' frustration in a way. He knows what the plan is moving forward. He's obviously on board re-signing, things like that.
Yeah.
But you can tell it like he's clearly mentioned a number of times. I've heard him in the media the last week or so is talking about that inexperience and saying we want to teach these boys, and that's great for the long haul. Like in 2 or 3 years' time, we'll be laughing. It's just a bit frustrating at the moment, and I know there's a lot out there that feel the same, and I get it. I just feel like while we've got these players in the books, like your Mattos, you're playing, you make it work.
You got him anyway, yeah.
You can bring these, like you can start Matto, and if it's not working after 30 minutes, bring your Charlie Gymers or someone on to then say you go and take the rest of the game, take Matto off and say, mate, didn't work, gave you your chance, see you later type. Like I could get that then. I just don't. Like let's make the call now. If you were the coach right now, an English Super League club came forward tomorrow and said, "We'll take Matto right now." Are you saying yes to it, or you're holding on to Matto?
No, look, I'd say yes because he hasn't been playing anyway. We haven't been winning games anyway. I'd say yes.
There we go. There we go. Can you smell that? Oh, hang on, go.
I was going to say I've got a little hot take. You just mentioned him. I've got a little hot take for you. I think last year when we lost Blaze and we lost Ethan Sanders, and there was the reports that Charlie Geimer was going to go, I think the club panicked with that whole thing with Charlie Geimer. I have seen nothing this year that justifies the panic reaction that we got from him last year. At the moment, I don't rate him.
I hate to say it, but I'm getting Daniel Alvaro vibes off him.
100%. Like just real meat and potatoes, but not enough meat.
Yeah, just sort of great to have around the club. Great bloke as well. Like one of those guys you just love to have as a mate. But just he's missing something, and it just feels like at the moment he's not going to get that. But again, I spoke about it the last couple of weeks. It also does feel like maybe he's lost too much weight, so I'd like to see him beef him up a bit. Go to Macca's, brother. Go get some Big Macs and stuff in there.
On the house.
Size up for a bit, do a bit of bulk for a couple of weeks, come back and just rip and tear. To be honest, I liked him the most so far when it was last year and he played a bit in the middle. Like, I feel like he's more of a middle than an edge. So.
He's 100% a middle. He's not a second rower. I will say that now. I don't rate him as a second rower. He played in the middle at one stage this year. I think that was against the Dragons. Potentially he started at lock and we won that game. So, does that tell you anything? I don't know.
Who knows? Let's talk Origin. There's obviously a couple of players in the mix at the moment. And what I'm going to do is just going to go down the list from the team that's been named this week. Because obviously they're the ones that are only basically eligible to get chosen because they're obviously the rest are out. All playing reserve grade, which you're not going to get chosen in State of Origin in 2025 playing reserve grade. It's not the 80s anymore, which that did actually happen a couple of times. So basically just give me a yes, no, and there'll be a few here where we will have a bit of a quick discussion on them as well. Isaiah Iongi, I'll just say no, too early.
No.
Yeah, so his future though has Origin written on the card, I reckon.
What is he? Because he came from
I think it's Queensland,
Brisbane, so he'd be Queensland. Oh no, I don't want to see that.
No doubt, Slater's already been on the phone to Riles, just saying, just keep me up to date the next couple of years. How Isaiah's going. Zach Lomax starting on the wing this week.
Yes.
Would you have him in Origin game one?
He will be there. I guarantee it. He is a lock.
Wow. I'm the opposite. I don't think he'll be there.
No, he's a lock.
I actually genuinely don't think he'll be there.
I'll bet you.
Okay. Let's have a bet. Let's have a bet. Let's have a bet on the pod.
$20.
I'll go you $20 that Zach Lomax won't be in gamble responsibly, guys. Hopefully we can actually do this.
This is barring injury. If he gets injured this game, doesn't count. Voided.
No, you can't. No. This is it for now. There's got to be something to it.
Yeah, he's got to be able. He's got to be eligible. If he's not eligible, it doesn't count. But if he's eligible to be picked, he doesn't get injured. He gets picked.
From this bet right now, he's eligible. So you're either in or out from this moment. Because I could turn around to say to you, if he has a 20-run, 300-meter game, scores 2 tries, my bet part's not eligible.
Well, no, that's different. It's not an injury. Injury he can't help. He can help how much he runs in a game.
I'm only betting if you're in from here. I don't want any. That's the risk you're taking going in here.
That's rubbish. First of all, that's rubbish from you. I'm just going to say this, but I'll take you on anyway. I'll take you on anyway. Perfect. But that's rubbish from you.
So 1 yes and a no for Lomax. I actually just think it's 1 week before Origin's selected. I just don't know if he's had enough time to be on the big stage. I know he's going to have freak of an athlete.
He's going to have a 30-run game this week, and he's going to prove it. He's just going to go out and rip and tear.
If he does, well done. Will Penasini, I'll say no.
Isn't it? He can't. Oh, he can. Yeah,
and he's Tonga. He's New South Wales. Sean Russell, that's a hell no.
Yeah, he'd get picked. Nah, you're not making
hell no. Josh Addo-Carr.
Nah.
No, there is a few too many ahead of him at the moment, I feel like. But as I said, his form is actually, I think his form's underrated this year. I actually think he's in tremendous form. Dylan Brown can't. He's a Kiwi. Mitchell Moses. And if the answer is yes, where are you picking him?
5'8".
Yeah, I'm in with the 5'8". I'm in with the 5'8". I'm shocked at so many people at the moment saying, nah, him and Cleary are too similar, things like that. Like, hello, what world are you all living in? Didn't the Queenslanders just go through a dynasty with Cooper Cronk and JT, who are very similar players and who both wanted the ball almost every single set and made it work and went on the best dynasty we've ever seen in Australian sport? Like, I think that's absolutely outrageous to say that they won't work. That's the 2 best playmakers in New South Wales who are both fit currently. Touch wood, they get through the weekend. They are getting picked, in my opinion, and you literally make it work.
Yeah, 100%.
And especially Luai had no form whatsoever.
No, he's not even playing in the position they're going to put him in 5'8". And I understand that's his position for a long time, but, you know, and I suppose I should preface this by saying neither would be Mitchell Moses, but I don't know how to put this. I just have this vibe. I can't even put this anyway. I just think you can't take out Mitchell Moses, who I believe was one of the players of this. He didn't play all 3 games. Otherwise, he probably would have got named player of the series last year, considering he almost single-handedly won them the second game to keep them in the fight. You can't take that away from him, because what's he done to deserve not being in it?
Nothing at all. So I think we're both, locks him in, yes, and it's at the 5'8" position as well. Jack Williams, that's a no.
Yeah, no, you won't get there.
Riley Smith, no.
No.
Junior Paulo, no. Or Parlo, no.
Matty
Dury and Katoga are both no's. And Jermaine Hopgood. So he's Queensland. He obviously played game 1 last year, got injured, smashed with his back, cost us out, almost had a big impact on our year, obviously, last year, not having him for the rest of it. I would say he's no chance at the moment. His form is just so below being anywhere near Origin level, not even on the bench, which is saying something, because at the moment I keep looking at the Queensland side, trying to do my side for the page and things like that. It's not that crash hot, like especially on the bench. It's not a crash hot bench for Queensland. If he was in form, Hopgood, he'd almost be a walk-in starter. It shows you just how much he's fallen away this year.
Yeah, it does, and it sucks. And I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know what's happening with Hoppy, and I really want to see him get back to his best, because I'm a massive advocate. As soon as I saw that signing was happening, even before that, I was a big fan of his, and I really wanted him to come to the club. As soon as I heard he was coming, I was so excited, and he's done already so much for us. But at the same time, he's only young. He needs to be doing more than he is at the moment, and I really, really want to see him get back to it.
Yeah. And the bench is no point talking about it. None of them are either eligible or in the form to warrant being in that selection process either. So, at the moment, it looks like we should, going off what Jake wants, Lomax and Moses, he thinks will make the team. for me, it's just Moses at the moment. But who knows if Lomas has that 30-run game on the weekend and blitzes the Knights, it could be a late charge into that jersey. At the moment, they're absolutely stacked, the Blues.
The other thing that I believe will put them both into the team is if they show off that kicking game and like receiving this weekend, like they did in the last Origin. This is the first opportunity and only opportunity they're going to get to before the first Origin. But if they can show that they've got that on lock this weekend, like that, like, hey, I'm just going to put it right to Lomax up in his hands and just score. There's no reason. I think you have to pick them both because it's just they go together, and they would have trained together, obviously, at least a little bit.
Shout out to you, Momax. Get it together this weekend, score a few tries, convert a few. It would be great to see. Let's quickly look into this weekend's game. Obviously, versus the Newcastle Knights in Newcastle. Our team. So just the key changes. Obviously, Zach Lomax comes in for Bailey Simonson. Unfortunately, Jack Williams is back in that prop position. Matty Dury starts in the second row. I'm a bit surprised by that. I actually would have thought Jordan Semrani would have got the jersey if they were doing that change. No Charlie Geimer in this game whatsoever.
Do you think that's through injury? Or do you think that's through, like, he just didn't have a good game last two games he played?
I didn't notice him getting an injury on the weekend. I don't know if I completely missed something, but they are sort of – I know they're rotating a couple of those young guys. I'm surprised they're doing it again this week with no Tuivasa at the moment. But, yeah – I just wanted to give Semrani a shout out. I thought he was huge on the weekend. Like played three different really positions all up, had some fantastic stats, kept going, kept trying. He's obviously been moved into the second row at the moment. I would have, even though Matty Dury did, like, there's something about Matt Dury that I do want to see more of. Again, like you said, I actually feel like he's developing more into that middle role though. I would have liked to see Semrani at the moment be rewarded for that form he showed on the weekend where he played three different positions. He's had a really good dig the last few weeks, apparently, in the second row. I would have liked to have seen him in the second row this week. Yeah,
I would have also liked to see, and I keep saying this every week, I just don't think Jack Williams has enough in the middle right now. I think he needs to be in the second row. When we have some bigger boppers in the middle that we can play there, like Dury, I think Moretti needs a reward for what he's done, to be honest with you, at the start of this season and coming on. If not him, I would have said to Avidi, but obviously he's out at the moment. So, yeah, I'd like to see somebody who is, in my opinion, actually a middle start in the middle because it just doesn't feel like Jack Williams has enough. Maybe off the bench, Jack Williams could go slot into the middle, but I just think he does a good job on the edges. He did a great job for us from the until he got injured. He did a great job for us at the start. So I just don't know what happened there.
Yeah. No, I agree. Do you give us a chance in this one? How do you see this one going?
Oh, I mean, we're both at the moment this year pretty shitty teams. So to be honest, it could go either way. I think we should have beaten the Dolphins, which means that there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to beat the Knights. We should be able to win this game. There's no reason why we shouldn't. They're not in form, but at the same time, neither are we.
I was about to say we can't really talk about form and being in form because we're definitely not either. No. The only thing I'm optimistic about is the fact that both Moses and Lomax have such a key part in our team this year, obviously, and our better performances this year have been off the back of either of those two having good games, and them two finally together brings me a little bit of hope. And I think they both want to impress, obviously, Laurie and the Blues selectors this weekend. And I think it's a big weekend where some of these Origin stars will really impress, which does have me slightly worried about Kalen Ponga and his impact in this game because he's been very, very quiet for a number of weeks now. And it's just Parra's luck to then turn that person into the best player in the game, it looks like. So I'm very excited to see how that Momax combination, how that works. I don't like it. I really just don't like this game. I feel like the Knights are going to get us just, unfortunately, but it could be one of those really dour affairs where it's like we could win the game by like 2 points or something. Could be a very open, flashy, high attacking game and a bit of points are flowing back and forth and just, see where it goes.
Well, it's at McDonald Jones, so it's at their home ground. I have no idea anything about. Oh, he says ground conditions good, weather should be fine. So I'd actually argue it should be pretty high attacking game. And there is one person, I don't know if you were waiting or not to get to him, but congratulations to Tony Matto for his debut.
Yep, you got to it. I was about to the next point, but you go away.
Sorry, mate.
You take it away.
Sorry, mate.
I was waiting to end it on a good note. So you've stolen my thunder.
I have stolen your thunder. I just didn't know if because you sort of stopped at Hopgood and then we never kept going down from there. So I was just double checking. But I actually haven't seen much of Tony Matto, but I'm excited. I've heard good things. I haven't seen them obviously because I haven't watched that much reserve grade. I wish I had, but I'm excited to see him go and rip and tear, mate. Get in there, keep your spot, fight and keep that spot. Let's go.
Yeah, he's a goer. He's been in a bit of form in the lower grades and coming through the last few years. There's been massive reps on this guy, so I'm very, very keen to see where he can take his Parramatta career as well, and hopefully it's one that we get to keep into the future. That's it, Jakey boy. We got it done.
Oh,
so
I do have.
Go on.
Nah, don't stress. No, you're right.
No, what did you have? Go on, give us something quick.
Well,
hurry up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, with let's say Ryan Madison gets shopped out, and this is something that we've moved on from, but I wanted to ask just before we finish it off. With Ryan Madison gets shopped out, we've got young players coming up. So you obviously see we've got young Will Latu in reserve grade. We've got Saxon Pryke, I believe, comes up into the top 30 next year, which I haven't seen much of him. We've got obviously Sam Tuivasa. We've got some players coming up. Of the reserve grade players who haven't made their debut yet, and Tony Matto could have been one of them, which player excites you the most to get up? Who are you most keen to get up into that first grade side?
Goodness me, you've asked me. I want to do a bit of research before I answer.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I've thrown that at you too last minute. Sorry, mate.
Goodness me, mate. That a bit of respect next time. Anyway.
No, I just like to put you put me on the spot before. I'll just put you on the spot.
No, look, I'll take a phone a friend and I will get back to you. That might be a topic for us to address next week. I thought you were about to ask, should we go to the market or just put faith into our youngsters?
Well, that was my original question, and then that disappeared from my brain and then went into the other direction. So
I would rather you have gone that way.
Well, okay, well then we'll answer it that way, and we can do it there. So, would you rather focus on juniors or really hit the market hard?
I think we need to hit the market hard. I think we need to buy at least 2 forwards, 1 middle, 1 edge. Is my opinion on it. I think we've got some great juniors coming through, but I just don't think this is the environment to bring all of them through at once. And we've already brought a number through already this year. No doubt, we'll probably bring a few more as the season goes on. Injuries play their part, things like that. And then obviously next year as well, we want to start building that winning culture. And some of the lower grades are doing a great job. They've been winning heaps of games. SG Ball obviously did some good things this year. Unfortunately, just missed out. Harold Matts, there is so much good talk coming out of that team as well. Unfortunately, didn't hit the heights that they were expected to this year. But there's some tremendous kids in there. There's, to be honest with you, from what I've been told, there's so many highly talented kids in that team. That's the one that the club is very excited about. They're very excited to see some of those come through. They then go into obviously New South Wales Cup, things like that. So I like what's happening at the moment. I can see it all unfolding, but I do think we're still needing that 1 or 2, especially senior sort of figures in the pack to help us get that sort of grit. So I would definitely be going into the market for some forwards next year.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I was just curious. For me, I think that we definitely need 1 or 2, but other than that, I'm actually quite happy with some of the younger guys up and coming that I'm hearing all this incredible stuff about. I'm happy to give them a run, especially because there just isn't that much on the market. We've already gone through this together and who we want. There was 2 options, so unless we can get those 2, it's gonna be a very difficult year again. I think. I'm not
telling you right now.
Yeah.
Josiah Pahulu at the Titans club listening right now. Get on the blower, get to him because he's going to be a talent. But that is it. Thank you very much for listening again. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Make sure you add a comment on the video as well. Share it around. Let your mates know. Let your Parra fans know. Your friends and family. Get onto it. Help us spread this part of the page and help it grow like the rest of the page is doing tremendously, which we're very thankful for. Plenty of cool things in the works as well in the behind the scenes. Some potentially more live events, things like that as well. So great time to be part of things, sharing it, growing the page, helping us do the same. Go to social media pages like that, share the posts, comment on the post, be involved, be active. But until the next one, Parra fans, next week, we're cheering the boys on very, very hard on Friday night, 6 p.m. game. So nice and early. We get that out of the way once again. Fantastic. And fingers crossed the boys can get a win. And fingers crossed both Lomax and Moses have some good games. And we get to cheer them on for the Blues. And stay fit as well.
And stay fit. Please.
And hopefully one of them are kicking goals this week. Otherwise, you'll be hearing from me on the social media pages. That is for sure. Good night, good day, good whatever it is to you guys out there right now. Go the Eels.